Welcome back to Barrel Brothers. As you've seen in the intro, we have racks here full of wheels, and there's some that just get overlooked time and time again. The very first set that we ever did for YouTube was the glids. That's one of them there. That's the cracked centre, the famous cracked centre. Now these sat on the shelf for, I wouldn't say years, I'd say over a year, because somebody had rattle packed them black. And the funny thing was that, you know, if this hasn't, I had 4 people try to buy them, but they cracked and they weren't ready, and then we were getting something, and then I put them on the other car, and as soon as I took them off the President, they sold. So, and that was a set that just sat there. Nobody wanted them because they were rattle packed black. So I'm going to do it again. This time with the Sunny Truck though. Haha, we're back on the Sunny Truck. We're a wheel place, so we build wheels, so that's what we do. So I'm going to take a wheel that we actually tried on the car when we had it downstairs. When we were building the first set of wheels for the Sunny Truck, the Javelins, 40-inch Javelins, we put a whole lot of wheels on the car, and that's a good one for people if they've got, especially if they've got Datsun utes or whatever. It's a good one to go and have a look at. Just for slapping a whole lot of wheels on a car, because you can get, you know, the look really changes. So I had a couple that were in my final 2, and one of them got all the thumbs down and nobody liked them, and in the comments afterwards not one single tick. So I really liked them. They were in my final 2, but you know, people have got no imagination. So I did a sheep impression, and I went along with what everybody else said. Well, I didn't actually, went with something that we had here. But I'm going to revisit them, and we're going to build them. And that is these guys. Yeah, they're ugly. But that's because they're the wrong colour. These came in a couple of different colourways. They came like XR4s with black in the infill and then diamond cut across the faces. They came like this, which is silver in the infill and black across the faces, sort of like a reverse XR4, I suppose you'd call it. But the one I'm going to do, I've listened to myself say gunner so many times and it sounds really crap. The one I'm going to do is the other colourway that they did, and that is black in the infills, diamond cut across the faces, and then red anodised, and they look fantastic. So first thing we need to do is measure them up on the car, you know, just like always. Sorry about that, I was just making sure my microphone was working. Martin commented once that he thought my voice was too low in one particular thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Martin.
I don't put on fake voices for anybody. Now we've got the wheel off, now we need to lower it down a bit. It's piddling down with raining outside. Again, it seems to be raining every time I want to do some filming. You call me Mark the Drought Buster. Let's put these suckers on. So what we've got here is a 4-inch barrel and a 2-inch lip. These are sandwich, so there's the centre there. Sorry, there's the centre there. Barrel, lip, welded, and away we go. All right, let's chuck it on and get some sizes. First thing we check is to, wheel nuts, these nuts, is to check that we actually have a clear. I mean, it's not clobbering anything. See how that moved when I did those up? That means we're going to need some hub rings for this too. And we don't actually need to lower the car down because we've got a wheel. We'll just put it onto blocks of wood, which means I've got to jack it back up again. So what we do, we know how wide our lip was because I just mentioned it a minute ago. We get a nice upright here and we measure back to the wheel. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? Just under 2 inches. If we added 2.5 inches to that lip, it would sit about there. It's sticking out the guard a little bit. Don't tell that nice policeman that stopped me. Plus 2.5 on the front. Jesus, that'd be a 4.5 inch lip. That was a 2 inch lip, wasn't it? So 6.5, ½ inch centre, 4 inch barrel, 2 inch lip, 6.5. Measured twice, cut once, they say. That is adding 2 inches to the lip. And that's just proud. Or 2.5, which is a lot proud. Okay. Here we are at the back. Same wheel, it's a square set. Where do I put the wheel nuts? Up on the bench next to the camera. It is 2 1/3. 2 1/3. So if we get a 2.5 inch, it's not going to be sticking out that much. That's plus 2.5 inches. It's barely going to be sticking out at all, like we're talking millimetres. All right, 3 inch lip. Bugger it. That looks remarkably similar to what it'd be sticking out at the front. So let's see if we can change hands at 100. You know what I'm talking about. 17 millimetres poke. You know, I own a wheel shop, I've got to do stupid stuff, so that's what we're going to do. 2.5 on the front, 3 inch on the back. So there'll be 9s and 9.5s. Alrighty, let's crunch the numbers up. So, we have a 6.5 inch wide wheel. So let's draw that up on this here piece of paper. 6.5 inches, half of 6.5 is what? 3 1/4. See, I knew you knew that. You're smart people. Now, it says on the back of this that it's a +7. Me, being the distrusting soul that I am, I'm going to measure them anyway. 194. 194 divided by 2 equals 97. Okay, 97. And that is why most of these old wings still have their centre caps. Super quality centre caps that never fall off. 97 minus 90. Alright, so we've got a 14 by 6.5 plus 7. So let's put that on here. Okay, now we also know that we have a 2 inch lip. See, there's the weld. There's number 2, it's upside down, but you know, you can always turn your TV or phone upside down, unless you've got that thing on the phone where it always turns it up the right way, but I digress. Okay, so we've got a 2 inch lip, we'll put that on there as well. And up the barrel sizes, because there's a ½ inch in between, because it's welded in, so those are ½ inch, which means my barrel is 4 inches. See? 4. Okay, now we're going to add 3 inches to this. 3 plus 2 equals 5. I dare say this is going to come out fairly negative. 1, 2, 3. There's our 5 inch lip. So overall now is, so half of 9.5 is what? 4 3/4, correct? So we go 14 by 9.5 minus, it's got to go a long way back to get there, I'll tell you, minus 30. So again, we've got a 6.5. I'll write rear on that in case I, happen to put a 9.5 minus 30 on the front. 6.5, 3 1/4 plus 7. Well, what do you know? It came out exactly the same as the top one. We're going to add 2.5 to that. Oh, sorry, lip is 2. We're going to add 2.5. 1, 2.5. That's the outside of the wheel, or the new outside of the wheel. So 14 by 9 minus 25. The ones on there at the moment are a 14 by 8.5 minus 14 and a 14 by 9 minus 21. How do they compare? On the front, these are 133 millimetres from the hub to the outer edge of the wheel. On the proposed new ones, that is 150 minus 133 equals 17 millimetres. Isn't that around about what we measured that it was going to poke anyway? And from memory, I'm pretty sure that we built those wheels that are on the car now to be inside the guard, well, flush with the guard. Sometimes I even surprise myself at how good I am. Anyway, let's have a look at the rears. Okay, hub to outer edge on those is 148 millimetres. And on the proposed new ones, it is 164. 164, clear, 164 minus 148 equals 16 millimetres. So it'll be about half an inch outside the guard. I can live with that. Had the boys pulling them apart. Elliot's obviously come stomping across and going, what are you bloody doing? Do some real work. So consequently, 3 of them had the bolts and valves taken off and 1 didn't. And that's as far as we got. So it looks like I'm going to have to get my hands dirty. The first thing we do whenever we get some wheels into the place for repair, or if we're going to work on them or anything, is make sure they're straight. So that means over onto the ye old balancer and spin them up and see if they're good, and then if they're not, over onto one of our straighteners here. But these ones, I mean, we only have to do the barrels anyway because the lips are going in the bin, well, to the recyclers. The barrels are fairly straight, but they're not perfect. So they don't need the big hydraulics. All we need is to run them through the roller, and that's what I'm going to do now. No bent wheels leave Barrel Brothers. Well, they do. They do. And it usually goes like this. Hey, bud, I've got a crack in my wheel. Oh, yeah, you'll have a buckle too. No, it's just cracked. They don't crack for no reason. No, it's only a crack. Okay, so we bring it in with the guy standing there, and we put it on the balancer, and it'll be buckled. Of course it is. I mean, that's don't just crack. Hit something to make it whatever. And then they'll go, don't worry about the buckle, I just want to fix the crack. And to which I always say, we either do the whole job or we don't do all of it. No, mate, I only want the crack fixed. And I take the wheel off there and I give it back to them and say, see you later. That's when bent wheels leave Barrel Brothers. The only occasion. So there you go. Of course, there's a trick to it. I've only done it several freaking million times, so I make it look fairly easy. But there is a trick to using these things. So before you rush out and spend thousands of dollars on one, it takes a while to be able to do this right. We call it R&D, and we don't give that stuff away for free. Alrighty, the next part of the process involves these lovely ski goggles, these gloves, and this here mask. No, we're not going to rob a bank. We're going to fire up the old plasma cutter and take the bulk of the lips off. I mean, you could machine them off, but they're going into recycling anyway, so it's quicker just to slash them off and away we go. So there you go, that's what we're going to do. I look like a fly, don't I? Anyway, let's get stuck into it. Okay, so now we've made them about as ugly as you can actually possibly make them. We've got a nice rough edge here, so we can weld the new lip onto it, you know, because you want it to okay, I won't tell them that. All right, so now we've got the bulk of the lip off. What we need to get is this bit here off, and you can see the weld there. There's the actual centre of the wheel. I'm using my finger here, aren't I? I shouldn't be using this actual human finger. Won't be a tick. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so you can see the two welds there. There's one, there's the other one. There's the centre in the middle. This is a sandwich type wheel because the centre's in the middle and the barrel's welded onto the back and the lip's welded onto the front. So what we want to do is carefully basically cut through that weld and get back to the original wheel. So I don't care how carefully you do it, you can't do it, compressor. I don't care how carefully you can do it with an angle grinder, it's never going to be as beautiful as when you do it on a lathe. You've just got that touch and that accuracy, you can really make a good job of it, you know. We'll go back to actually taking that weld off and leaving the little chamfer on the edge that it originally had before it was welded up. So what we're left with is 4 cut down wheels and a pile of stuff that's going out to the recycling. Here we have our wheels and they're still fairly ugly. So how do you make ugly wheels cool? 2 words, add dish. Here we have the lips that are going onto them, 4.5. and 5-inch. Now, as you can see, they're still ugly in the centre, but boy, doesn't that make a difference? Oh, damn, that's sexy. All right, so before we go any further, what we need to do is to check the sizes. You know, measure twice, cut once. Check them on the car, see if they actually fit and they poke to where we think they're going to poke, and yeah, so let's get into doing that. We've come up against it a couple of times where people want stuff that's just not possible because physics. Right, so they've got such and such a wheel on their car, and it's great, and it's flush with the guard. That's a 3.5-inch lip, and they go, okay, I want a 5-inch lip on there. And I say, oh, you're going to do some guard work? No, I want it inside the guard. Okay, so it's not going to work. You've either got to change your wheel to a different wheel. Not all wheels are the same, you know. This is very short between here, it's very flat, there's not much brake clearance, only just clears these brakes, and these brakes are by no means big. And this is how I got away with putting such a big lip on it. But so you've either got to be in possession of a car with hubs that slide inwards, or nothing. They just won't fit. And I don't want it sticking out the guard, but I want a 5-inch lip. Okay, so, you know, and I end up arguing with people. It's very hard to explain over the phone. So, practical demonstration. All right, so that is a 3.5-inch lip. Let's just prove that. 3.5 inches, okay? 3.5-inch lip. And there it is, roughly flush with the guard. There it is, okay, so I want a 5-inch lip on there. It's not going to fit because it's going to stick out, but I want it inside the guard. Well, however much you want it, that is not going to go inside the guard. It's well outside, okay? And there's just no way in hell it's going to go in there. You can't make that fit. You can't shave the back off the wheel. You can't. But my mate's got it on his car. Well, he's either got a different wheel or he's got different suspension under his car that will not fit your car with that wheel, okay? Your concrete points are, your hub is not going anywhere. The wheel is the wheel. That's what it is. Your guard is your guard. That's it. That won't fit. It just won't. That fits. 3.5. It's still a good looking lip, you know. But if you can roll the guard a bit, you might get half an inch with a bit of rolled guard or whatever, but you're never going to make the big one fit. It just won't. Maybe go to a 4-inch, but you're not going to get a 5. It just won't fit. Okay? There we go. Now, the other one is that I get is people will measure the lip on their wheel to the edge of the wheel. That's not how it works. They're measured to there. There's always half an inch extra, okay? Been through this a few times. That is a 3.5-inch lip. It is not a 4-inch lip. It's a 3.5. Got it? Wheels are always measured to where the tyre bead sits. Cool. Get a handle on that and we can be friends. Okay, so I'd have to say I'm pretty happy with that. 9 and 9.5 they are. So what's on it now? These guys here, the old ones, are 8.5s and 9s. And these are 9 and 9.5, so an extra half an inch wider. Let's try that front lip on the back. There's a quickie. Yeah, that's probably on a par with what we've got now. Maybe less, a little less. I think I worked it out at that. These are slightly in, but that's not going to cut it. Those are going to cut it. Alrighty, so next episode we'll get them cleaned up and polish the lips and get the lips welded on and get some paint onto them and some machining, and yeah, all the stuff's got to be done now. See you next time. Thanks for watching.